Later on, y'all can check it out. I know y'all niggas be reading 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene. Now you're gonna read the 50th law. Cause I done got with Robert Greene to create the new shit for you to read, nigga. You see what I'm saying, man? Yeah, nigga, come on, man. Don't play with me that shit. 33 strategies of war, the art of seduction. Come on, man. All that shit come from the hood, B. It's a parallel between corporate America and the hood, and it's obvious. You see me winning, don't you?
Okay, yeah, we're on. Hi. Okay, nice to meet you. I mean, we're back and all that other stuff. The whole game here for me is just to get through with this video and all the other ones for the foreseeable future with as little bit of editing as possible, because my computer is essentially a turtle shell. And but this machine is nice, this camera, so there's just gonna be a lot more unadulterated, unfiltered steez coming through your multimedia devices. Anywho, like you already know, this is the book we're looking at. It's called The 50th Law by 50 Cent and Robert Greene. I shouldn't have to tell you who either of those people are, but I mean, why else would you visit a video like this unless you really wanted to learn something, right? So 50 Cent was a best-selling rapper during the Grills and Rims era of hip-hop. And Robert Greene, of course, is the Aesop of historians. He's like if Aesop was Herodotus, you know what I mean? He's a historian. He's known for all the books that you read in prison, the 48 Laws of Power, so it's Art of Seduction, 33 Strategies of War. In 2007, 50 Cent and Robert Greene started to hang out a lot. 50 Cent liked Robert Greene's book, so says everybody, I guess. Or maybe it's a black person thing. Is it a black person thing? And Robert Greene realized that, like, oh, this guy is like one of the people in my books. He's like Napoleon or something. He just does his thing. And so they started hanging out, and he started just like, you know, soaking up the 50 vibes, so to speak. There's like 10 specific like ways of approaching challenges in your life that are detailed in this book, and they're all very interesting, very cool, and they're detailed. First, through stories of 50 Cent growing up as a hustler, like selling crack in Queens during the late 80s into the mid 90s, when he was like, I think like 13 or 12 on to like maybe 18 or something. And then he'll use the same law, but instead of surviving in the crack world, it's surviving in the music world. And then Robert Greene continues on with like old school, you know, how Napoleon did it, how Leonardo da Vinci did it, how Scaramucci did it, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You know, getting that. Oftentimes with like the hustle culture, and by hustle I mean like, what do you call them cats? Influencers, business influencers. They'll be talking about hustle this, hustle that, yada yada. And you know, they all just love listening to 50 Cent and Mobb Deep and all these like, you know, rappers who talk about, well, maybe not so much Mobb Deep, but all these rappers who like talk about making money in the hood and hustling. But there's a mystique about it. There's no real explanation as to into how the lessons that you learn on the street, let's just say the lessons are so much more dire than they would be in the square world. And this book does draw quite a decent map of just how unstable that world is. I mean, if it was you yourself who just started, you know, sitting out in the corners of your major street, you would deal with the same level of unknowingness, of not knowing why the people who walk by you, ride by you, and give you these funny looks have such different vibes. What those vibes mean, you just know that something's happening that you don't know about. And that never really leaves. It changes as you go into different areas of your life, into different, I want to say venues, yeah? Into different realms of business or of communities or whatever. This book is about dealing with that, dealing with uncertainty, dealing with things that you have no control over. The other thing that was kind of interesting with this is it brought to mind some other characters who have a similar life cycle, I guess, or career trajectory as 50 Cent, I thought a lot about Dame Dash, whose superpower in the music world in the beginning was his fearlessness, his ability to bully music executives simply because he knew that they wouldn't shoot him, and that his power and his brazenness on the street that allowed him to survive actually eventually became his downfall, because he wasn't able to adapt to like the wily side of things when Lyra Cohen and Jay-Z turned against him. And although Dame Dash is by no means a failure to this day, he's not as successful as the more wily characters like Jay-Z or Master P. Some of these characters that are in 50's past, you know, not all of them died. Some of them just like continued on with their life with their tail between their legs, getting a menial job, not willing to risk getting in that fast life again because they just got burned. It was just too much for them. One of the things that I've learned over the course of watching what I read in this channel and seeing how I digest what I read is that I don't think that and I think a lot of you non-fiction cats know this, I don't think that you can like read a non-fiction book and like be like, oh, I get it now. You know, like you can't read a book on economics and be like, oh yeah, I get it now. I can hang with, you know, freaking Jim Cramer and we can go toe to toe and talk about what needs to be done. It just doesn't go like that. You can't learn enough through one book. I think it's important to read as much on the subject as you can, and I think that requires that you're already obsessed with the subject, so you kind of have to pick the one that you're obsessed with and just go a whole hog into it, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I already read a lot of business books, but this book really did fit in so well with other business books. It locked in it made a lot of things make sense in terms of dealing with how unpredictable the world can be. Because a lot of books like the E-Myth Revisited, like that book in particular is so much about how to make sure that your business is structurally safe like a boat, and so that if the waters are choppy, your boat can still sail right through it like a freaking, you know, destroyer ship or something. This book is more about how to deal with different kinds of storms, different kinds of waves. Yeah, so I gave it 4 stars because I mean, look, if you like Robert Greene, you're gonna find this book just fine, and it's very easy to digest. It's a lot less disjointed as like his other books, but which have, you know, a bunch of writing everywhere and stuff. And if you like 50 Cent, you'll learn a whole lot more about exactly why his persona on stage was so powerful. All his background and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that's it, bye.